He's alive, Grace whispered, her voice trembling. Dr. Harlow blinked, stunned. Yes, one heart just restarted on its own. Give him to me, Emily said, already rising to her feet. Please, give him to me now. Grace carefully lifted the smaller twin and laid him in her arms. Emily pressed the baby to her chest, sobbing so hard her breath came in gasps. You hear that, Luke? One of them's still fighting. Luke stumbled back into the chair, covering his face. God, one's alive. Beside them, the other twin lay still. Jacob's small body curled where his brother's warmth had been. Dr. Harlow's voice was barely above a whisper. Separated, and he came back. The room hung between miracle and mourning, suspended in that fragile place where life and death trade places. Emily rocked the breathing twin gently, her tears falling onto the red blanket. You're here, sweetheart. You came back to me. Luke stood beside the empty crib, staring down at Jacob. He looks like he's just sleeping, he murmured, his voice breaking. Why couldn't they both wake up? Dr. Harlow adjusted the monitor. Noah's stable for now, but his lungs are struggling to remember the rhythm. I've never seen anything like it. One twin reviving only after they were separated. Luke's grief snapped. So you're saying being together killed them? No, Harlow said quietly. It kept them alive for 9 hours straight. But when one heart failed, the other followed. The separation broke that mirror link. It isn't cruelty, it's biology. Emily looked up, eyes red and raw. You can call it biology, doctor. It still feels like punishment. Grace placed a steady hand on her shoulder. Let's get him to neonatal ICU. He needs oxygen and warmth, not guilt. Emily kissed her son's forehead. Promise me he won't be alone. He won't, Grace said softly. They moved quickly down the hall, the sound of the baby's thin, determined cry echoing against the sterile tiles. Luke followed in silence, carrying the weight of both joy and loss. In the glass-walled ICU, Grace settled Noah into a new crib, the red knit cap still on his head. Emily pressed her palm against the glass. I can't even hold him. Not yet, Harlow replied gently. He needs rest. She turned on him, voice shaking. You said rest when they died. Don't you dare use that word again. For a long moment, only the rhythmic beeping of the monitor filled the room. Hours slipped past. The hospital dimmed to a quiet hum. Luke sat outside the ICU, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. We buried one before sunrise, he said hoarsely. How am I supposed to walk in there and pretend we're parents again? Emily's eyes stayed fixed on the crib. Because he's still fighting. If we stop now, we lose both. Inside, Noah stirred. A nurse leaned over, adjusting the line. Look, she whispered. His oxygen's rising on its own. Harlow stepped in, scanning the screen. He's stabilizing without support. Emily pressed a hand to her mouth. You mean he's breathing by himself? Yes, Harlow said, exhaling. He's proving us wrong. Luke pushed through the doorway, ignoring the sign. Let me see him. He reached through the small opening and touched Noah's hand. The baby's fingers curled weakly around his. Luke gasped. He squeezed me. Grace smiled through tears. Maybe a reflex, or maybe recognition. No, Emily whispered. He knows who we are. For the first time in hours, the weight in the room shifted. They weren't witnessing loss anymore. They were witnessing defiance. Days turned into a week. The Carters refused interviews. No cameras, no stories. Every morning, Emily sat by the crib, humming softly while the folded red blanket, the one Jacob had been wrapped in, rested beside her like a silent echo. One evening, Dr. Harlow entered with a thin file. We've run every test, he said. His lungs are functioning normally now. Whatever connection caused the collapse, it's gone. He's breathing on his own. Luke frowned. So he's cured. Harlow managed a faint smile. As cured as a miracle allows. Sometimes science runs out of words. Emily gathered her son into her arms as the last wire came off. Then it's time to go home. They left the hospital at dawn. The streets were slick from rain, the air cool and clean. Luke carried a small wooden box, the ashes of the twin they'd lost. Emily held the living child against her heart. For miles, they drove in silence. Then Luke spoke softly. Do you think he knows? Emily looked down at Noah's face. He doesn't need to know, she said. He feels it. Every breath he takes is his brother's gift. When they arrived home, the house felt both full and empty. The nursery still had 2 cribs. Emily stood in the doorway, staring at the untouched one. We'll keep it, she whispered. He'll grow up knowing why there are two. Luke wrapped his arms around her. You think he'll remember? He already does. The baby stirred, blinking for the first time since they'd left the hospital. A faint smile played across his lips. Outside, the wind brushed the windows like a sigh. Somewhere between loss and life, the world steadied. The doctors called it a medical anomaly. The parents called it mercy. And the surviving twin, his heartbeat strong, his tiny hand still reaching toward the air where his brother used to be, called it love, in the only way he knew how. A breath shared once, remembered forever. Don't take him away yet, Emily gasped. Please, just one more minute. The monitors screamed in unison, two piercing tones that cut through the sterile quiet of the hospital nursery. Nurse Grace froze, her gloved hands hovering over the twins who lay pressed together in a single bassinet, their foreheads touching. Dr. Harlow rushed in, white coat flying. What happened? They just stopped, Grace stammered. Both at once. Heart rate flatlined. Emily stumbled to the crib, her husband, Luke, close behind. The boys, Jacob and Noah, looked peaceful, tiny chests still, lips pale. Just an hour ago, their little fists had curled around each other's sleeves, refusing to let go even while they slept. They can't be gone, Emily whispered. They were fine. Dr. Harlow's tone was steady but grim. It's a rare reflex called mirror apnea. One baby's breathing mirrors the other's. When one slows, the other follows. It's an unbreakable link sometimes. Luke's jaw tightened. Then break it. Do something. We're trying. Harlow snapped, motioning to Grace. Stimulation again. Grace rubbed their feet, murmuring softly. Come on, little fighters. Stay with us. Nothing. The monitors held a cruel, unwavering tone. Harlow looked at the clock. Time of death. Don't you say it. Emily screamed. They're still warm. Her trembling hands reached through the plastic, resting on their joined hands. They're still holding each other. They don't even know they're gone. Luke turned away, choking on a sob. You said they'd outgrow this. You promised. Harlow removed his gloves, voice low. They were born connected in a way most aren't. Sometimes nature doesn't let go. Emily shook her head wildly. No, you're wrong. Grace's voice wavered. We have to separate them for transfer. Don't you dare, Luke barked. It's protocol, Harlow said quietly. Protocol killed them, Emily spat. But Grace couldn't stop her hands. Her eyes blurred as she gently began to untangle the twins' fingers. One by one, she freed them, thumb, palm, wrist, until their last touch broke. Then came a sound, soft, impossible. A breath. The smaller twins' chest lifted. A fragile cry broke through the stillness, thin but alive. Doctor! Grace shouted. He's breathing. Harlow spun around, disbelief flashing across his face. Get the oxygen. The monitor stuttered, then came alive, steady beeps marking the rhythm of a single heart that refused to quit. Emily fell to her knees, tears spilling freely. Noah, my baby, you're here. Luke clutched the side of the crib, trembling. He's breathing because his brother did, he whispered. In the hush that followed, Grace bowed her head, whispering through tears, sometimes love doesn't end. It just passes on. The machine steadied. The lights dimmed. And in the soft glow of the nursery, one tiny life continued, for two.